Khubor ka Batesi TV. Lawan Rashapi da ka Orange Nissan Loom Sopo near Fire Brigade Shillong.
The government of Meghalaya has decided that all colleges will be open from the 1st of September. So all colleges will be opened from 1st of September. Regarding, that is urban as well as rural. Regarding the schools in urban areas, from class 1 to class 5, it will be online, only online. From class 6 to class 8, it will be school visits. And class 12 and class 9 and class 10 will be open. So, class 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 will be open. I'll just repeat myself. Class 6 to class 8, the school visits, and class 9 to class 12 will be open. In rural areas, from class 1 to class 5, there will be school visits. Then class 6 to class 8 will be open, and class 9 to class 12 will also be open. Regarding the tourism, the state government has decided to open the tourism sector from the 1st of September. The tourists, though, will have to come with double vaccination. So tourists who are fully vaccinated will be allowed to visit Meghalaya for tourism-related purposes from the 1st of September. Tourists who are not vaccinated or have only a single dose will have to produce a negative RT-PCR, TrueNat or CBNat report, which will be valid if they have been tested within 72 hours prior to their arrival at the entry point. The tourists will also have to generate an e-invite for entry to Meghalaya through the Meghalaya app of the Meghalaya Tourism Department. It is also mandatory that the tourists who come in should book at least one night stay, either hotel, homestay or guest houses, and declaration of the complete itinerary should be there. Tourists who are staying as guests of any family or friend in Meghalaya shall declare the full address and contact details of the family or friend. At the same time, for local tourists from within the state, they will be allowed to visit any location in Meghalaya or tourism-related purposes if you are fully vaccinated or even single vaccinated. So within the state of Meghalaya, within the local tourist, vaccinated tourists will be allowed to visit, or locals will be allowed to visit different tourism locations. Local tourists who are not vaccinated will have to produce negative RT-PCR, TrueNat or CBNat report before checking into any hotel or to visit any tourist spot. So these were the few decisions that were taken today, and this obviously also includes restaurants and other tourism-related places. But obviously, those places also will come with certain protocols, like there will be certain numbers restricted, and obviously the vaccination aspect also will be there. Those details will be given by the respective DCs in the respective locations. Whether it's the schools or whether it's the tourism locations, the government has taken a decision and has allowed now the tourist locations to open, and has allowed the schools to open based on the category that they're in. But obviously, situations will depend from place to place, location to location. So obviously, if there is a containment zone, if the specific locality or the people of that area feel that these tourism spots cannot be open, then that particular aspect will be considered, and the tourism movement will not be allowed in those locations. So we will go with the local sentiments and ensure that we carry the people along. So it will all depend on the individuals. But yes, again, as I said, depending on the location itself. Now, some locations will require that Now, for example, a tourist comes into Shillong and he or she would like to watch a movie, and he or she happens to be only single vaccinated but has done an RT-PCR test. So they can come in, but the guidelines and the SOPs for a movie theatre require that you have to be fully vaccinated. So then obviously tourists can come into Meghalaya but will not be able to go for a movie because the movie activity will require full vaccination. So it depends on activity to activity, which again there are too many activities, I don't know all of the protocols in there, but that will be prescribed by the Deputy Commissioners. We have specifically mentioned that each location will have its own rules and laws. Some places are, or SOPs I should say, some places are allowing single vaccination, some places will allow double vaccination. So based on that, obviously those movements will be allowed. So, but obviously the SOPs have to be followed based on that specific location. Therefore, in the schools we have mentioned that the teachers who are there, we are ensuring that they are going to be fully vaccinated, and the ones who are not vaccinated, they need to produce the RT-PCR test results in a specific period of time. And from the students' point of view, there will not be any specific condition for the students, but all college students, we have seen that a large number of them are vaccinated, and we are hopeful that more and more students will come forward in the colleges to get vaccinated. Yes, everybody is vulnerable, and that's the reason why we have ensured that the class 1 to class 5 are not, will be only online, and also there will be school visits only in the rural areas, which would mean that students will only go for visits. And in certain areas which is there, we have again, even in urban areas, even to class 8, we have said there is school visits. So therefore, we have tried to do it in a phase-wise manner, and we are starting with one phase in which we will see how the situation unfolds. But more importantly, as I mentioned earlier, nobody is going to force anybody to open a school. So if the parents also, if they feel that the student should not go and the children should not go to school, nobody will be forced to go. So it's not necessary that attendance is mandatory. But there are a large section of people who want to go, who would want the classes to be there, and therefore we feel that it is appropriate, keeping the situation that numbers are not fully down, but they are better than what they were a few weeks back. We feel that students have suffered a lot. So therefore we are starting it in a phase-wise manner. Again, as I said, attendance is not mandatory, and opening the school also is not mandatory. But those who would want to open the schools, those who would want to go to the classes, this basically will allow them to go. And yes, some aspect of risk is there when it comes to the shops and all these aspects, and that's the reason why we have been encouraging people to display the vaccination if they've done or not, and asking people to vaccinate. Any movement that takes place, even while we sit in this room, there is no guarantee, to be very frank. And somebody could be positive and you could get affected. That's nothing we can really 100% guarantee and say it will not happen. Though I know that most of you are double vaccinated, I hope. But anyway, so yes, there is no guarantee in the world today. Today we live in a COVID world. But I think we need to all realize that somewhere we need to move on. And we need to realize that we have lost a lot of time. Children have suffered a lot, and classes have not happened. And yes, there is maybe an element, some element of risk. But as I said, we are opening it up with the knowledge and information to all that the decision will still remain to the managing committees, will still remain with the students, whether they want to open and whether they want to attend class. So that's as flexible as it can get. But we are opening up because we feel that we need to start living with this situation, we need to adapt to this situation, and we need to move forward. Well, we can examine that because, as I said, since we're leaving the decision to the schools, whether they wish to open or not, that's the maximum flexibility we can give to anybody. So therefore, it is up to the schools. When it comes to the shops and business establishments, they are doing it for the sake of business. So obviously, they will open up. They will not remain closed because they realize that they have to, earn their livelihood. So in those cases, I feel that the customer who's coming in has a right to know whether you're vaccinated or not. And if you're not vaccinated and if he or she still feels comfortable to go to your shop, that's the person's decision. So therefore, it's not appropriate for us to compare a business house and a business setup with a schools. That's there. As I said, schools have got different kind of aspect of learning, and all the other aspects are there. Children's safety, all these things are there. And business is about livelihood, and they will do what they feel is appropriate for the livelihood. But at the same time, as I said, customers who go and visit them should have the knowledge of knowing whether they are vaccinated or not. So I think it's not fair to compare the two.